Well, I'm speaking about the legendary spiritual and indigenous musician Tlokwe Sehume. His career that spans for decades saw him release albums such as the Summer Award-winning Kgafela, Utlwile and Mmino Thaba, amongst others. Well, the Joburg Theatre will on the 10th and 11th of October host the Tlokwe's Kgafela series of performances where he will be accompanied by Kgafela or Magogodi. Tlokwe is in studio with us this morning to tell us more about this forthcoming show and what else he's been up to. Tlokwe, very good morning and a warm welcome to Morning Live.
Morning, Simpiwe, and the listeners viewers of SABC TV.
Break down for us, if you can, what the Kgafela series is all about.
Kgafela series of performances is, from an artistic point of view, what could be equivalent to the state of the nation. The state of the nation is more on the political front.
Yeah.
The Kgafela series of performances is more on the artistic.
So it's the state of the nation for the arts?
On the arts side. To say we've been sold a dummy. Yeah. But registered is good. People sell you something that doesn't work. Ka intention ya hore or ka purpose ya hore you would actually get to have more cattle, only to find that somewhere in the process you discover to say this actually you were duped.
What do you mean by this though? Who sold us this dummy?
In the past, a lot of people in our country died. Some of them gave their lives for the promised land. And it was called Rainbow Nation and a whole lot of other names, but it doesn't seem to be coming. It's something that's seriously elusive. So artistically, we're trying to unpack what it is, because even on the front, when strangers came to this continent, when they had other intentions, one of the things that they started dismantling was our values and our ethos and our cultural institutions.
Yeah.
They have become patrons of our cultural institutions to a point where right now we are in the wilderness, and in the process there is this thing that says ultimately people are trying to find themselves. It was for the people who are in governance, who had been promising people a better life, something sloganeering that you always hear when people tout for votes, something for a better life, something that never happens, and people are grappling with what that actually means if unpacked, because unless if maybe the lottery means, because they say tatama chance, tatama million, that could be that maybe, or Rainbow Nation,
right,
which doesn't even have a black lining. But the thing is, artistically, we're trying to resuscitate what was lost.
Now, Tlokwe, you describe the essence of these performances as the marriage between musical art and the spoken word.
Yeah.
Do you want to take us through that in detail?
And the marriage between the spoken word and musical art, in fact, if one would have to unpack the word music in the African context, it may mean a slightly different thing to what the Western conception of music is. The spoken word, musical art, dance, costume, indigenous knowledge could be part of what makes music in the African context. And we would refer to that as music. In the Western sense, when you're making melodies or harmonies, whether with instruments or instruments, only to them, that is music. Then if you bring in an element, say, of poetry, they want to dissociate, they want to actually give an impression as if poetry or the spoken word is something else outside of music. But music, in the African sense, is part of the musical art.
So all the issues that you've articulated when you started this interview, do they find expression through the music that will be performed or through dialogues, conversations by those who will be attending the series?
It finds resonance in the music, using the spoken word as an accompaniment in the African sense to give meaning to what the performances are about.
And a common thread in all your albums is the African spirituality aspect to them. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, the African spirituality is part of what was taken from us by strangers who came to these shores very many years ago, because in that we loosely use words like Ubuntu and things like those. Things that have always been a part of who we are.
Yes.
Maybe in this day and age, Ubuntu and all of the other terms that have got to do with us as a people have got a slightly different meaning because it depends on which side of the fence you are. So the spirituality has been part of like the people who in the spiritual sense, like Abangoma, for example, had always been the custodians of culture, because Ngoma would mean song, easily translated, and that would be used as part of carrying on traditions of a collective from one generation to the other. So through those people, and through the kind of music that I make, which I call music of the mountains, or Mmino wa Thaba, which I say it's music of the day before yesterday for a people of the day after tomorrow. I gain inspiration from music that was made by people who were there before I was there.
Unfortunately, we don't have much time. So for those who want to immerse yourself in your greatness and the music on the mountains, how do they get hold of the tickets?
The tickets are available at web tickets, or at Pick and Pay outlets, or on the Joburg Theatre website, www.joburgtheatre.com.
Okay. Baba Sehume, siyabonga kakhulu. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Well, that was legendary musician Tlokwe Sehume, and he was speaking to us about his forthcoming show that is set to take place at the Joburg Theatre on the 10th and the 11th of October, called Kgafela, a series of performances.